Hare Krishna, Namaste, and welcome to day 4 of the Yoga Festival year 2021. Today we will be speaking on the topic of sacred journeys. We will be talking on the 4 important sacred places in north of India, in the state of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is also called as Uttaranchal. The 4 sacred places are Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath. The pilgrimage to these 4 sacred places is called as the Char Dham Yatra. These sacred places are connected to Mother Ganga, Mother Yamuna, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Essentially, a sacred or holy place is a platform to experience the divine, as these places purify the consciousness of the pilgrim. In particular, as revealed in various Vedic scripture, place is made sacred or holy by the presence of the Lord and his pure devotees. For beginning our journey to the 4 sacred places, we have to first arrive in a place called Haridwar in Uttarakhand. Haridwar is about 225 km northeast of New Delhi. Haridwar is on the west bank of the Ganga at the foot of the Himalaya mountains. This is one of the 7 main holy cities in India. Haridwar has many other names like Gangadwar, Haradwar and Swargadwar. The name Gangadwar indicates that it is the gate from where one reaches Gomukh or Gangotri. Haridwar indicates that it is the gate from where one can go to Shiva's places. Haridwar indicates the gate from where one goes to Lord Vishnu's abode, that is Badrinath. The name Swargadwar indicates that it is the gate from where the Pandavas left for Swargaloka and then to Vaikuntha Loka. Haridwar, there are a lot of important places in Haridwar, mainly the Har Ki Pauri Ghat, or it is also called as Brahmakund. This is located at exact spot where the Ganga leaves the mountains and reaches the plains and is considered a very holy place. The name Har Ki Pauri means the feet of Hari, Lord Vishnu. The footprints of Vishnu are imprinted on the wall underneath the water at this ghat. Every evening at about 6 p.m. there is an arti, that is showing of lamps to the sacred Ganga. Before starting their Char Dham Yatra in Himalayas, pilgrims are supposed to come and bathe in this ghat. 100,000 people can bathe here at one time. There are chains and rails that enable people to bathe safely, as the Ganga flows only very swiftly at this spot. Other important places to visit at Haridwar are Mansa Devi temple, which is located on a small hillock; Daksheshwar Mahadev temple, where the different pastimes of Daksha Prajapati and Sati took place; Mata Anandamayi ashram; Sapta Rishi ashram, where the 7 rishis meditated and the Ganga divided herself into 7 different parts. There is Vedavyas Mandir and so many other places. First, from Haridwar, generally we visit to a place called, as we described before, Yamunotri. Yamunotri is about 220 kilometers from Haridwar, taking about 7 to 8 hours by bus. Generally, people stay at a place called as Barkot after a journey of about 5 hours or so. Next day, one travels about 50 kilometers, taking about 2 hours to reach a place called as Janaki Chatti, which is the base of the Yamunotri temple, from where one can walk or one can hire a pony or hire a doli. Doli is where 4 people carry you, in a sitting position. Yamunotri temple is about 5 kilometers of steep walk and takes about 3 to 4 hours to reach. Yamunotri is situated at a height of 3,323 meters above the sea level in the western Garhwal Himalayas, in the Uttar Kashi district. Every year, lakhs of pilgrims visit Yamunotri from April to November for the darshan of Mother Yamuna, the presiding deity of Yamuna. Let us find out how the birth of Yamuna took place. The following is the pastime told by Skanda in the Skanda Purana. Just like Ganga is born from the lotus feet of Lord Narayan, Yamuna is born from his tears. Once after the battle between the demigods and the demons, Lord Vishnu was taking rest. When he closed his eyes, few drops of tears fell into the lap of Sangya, a lady who was performing austerity. Thinking it to be the blessing of her austerity, Sangya drank those drops of water. At that time there was a prophecy from the sky, when you marry Surya Dev, the sun god, you will give birth to 3 children, out of whom one daughter will be worshipped by the living entities of the material world, that is Yamuna, and shall be the queen of Krishna in Dwapar Yuga. Your 2 sons shall be the maintainer and destroyer of the material world respectively. Surya Dev, the son of Kashyapa and Aditi, married Sangya, the daughter of Vishwakarma. She was also known as Surenu in the 3 worlds. After marriage, Sangya gave birth to daughter, son twins and one son. The twins were named as Yamuna and Yama, and other son was named as Shraddhadev, who was later known as Vaivasvatamanu. How did Yamuna descend to Yamunotri? Let us find it out. In the beginning of Dwapar Yuga, there was a sage named Jayamuni who performed severe austerities to please Mother Yamuna. Being pleased by his austerities, Mother Yamuna started flowing from Saptarishi Kund in the form of a small stream and came to the place where Jayamuni was performing the austerities. She gave him darshan in the form of a small girl. She said, "O sage, I am pleased by your austerity. Please ask me for a boon." Sage Jayamuni requested, "Mother, Ganga is the purifier of the 3 worlds, but you are the liberator of the 3 worlds. In future, lot of devotees will come and take shelter at your feet. But it will be very difficult for them to make a pilgrimage to this holy place. Hence, I request you to manifest as a hot water stream so that the living beings get liberated just by taking bath in your holy stream in this place." Listening to his prayer, Mother Yamuna meditated on her father, the sun god, and requested him to provide his one ray of heat. After receiving a ray from Lord Surya Narayan, Mother Yamuna spoke to Jayamuni as follows: "Dear sage, this holy place will also be known after your name. It will also be called as Jamunotri." After blessing Jayamuni, Mother Yamuna returned to her abode. After Mother Yamuna disappeared, a stream of hot water started flowing from that place. The place from where the stream of hot water flows is called as Mukharavind, and the place where Jayamuni performed tapasya is known as Divyashila. Devotees perform worship at Divyashila to please Mother Yamuna. When Mother Yamuna was manifesting a hot stream of the river, at that time 2 drops from that stream fell in south and north directions, creating Surya Kund and Vishnu Kund respectively. Even today, river Yamuna is also known by the name Jamuna. Now let us hear about the glories of Mother Yamuna. Devotees who worship Mother Yamuna at Yamunotri are very fortunate. Any person who is bereft of religion in Kali Yuga, who touches or has darshan or worships the Divyashila at Yamunotri, all his sins will be washed away and he will attain the Sayujya Bhukti, that is becoming one with the Lord. When the demigod made Yama, the lord of death, to be the Dharmaraj, the father of religion, at that time Yamuna requested for a boon from Yama, her brother. She said, "My dear brother, please keep owning your right over the sinful persons only till they take bath in my sacred waters. After they take bath in my waters, please forgive all their sinful reactions." And Yamaraj agreed. Glories of bathing in Yamuna. Lord Skanda describes the glories of Mother Yamuna in the Skanda Purana as follows: "Just by taking bath in Yamuna, the living entity is liberated from the clutches of this material world. Even once bath in Yamuna will take that person to the spiritual world. Anyone who after taking bath in Yamuna offers oblations to the ancestors, after death they go to Surya Loka and then enjoy the opulence in the Brahma Loka. Both Ganga and Yamuna are equal in purifying the 3 worlds. Just by taking darshan of these 2 rivers, one gets devotion to Lord Shiva. Anyone who leaves his body on the banks of river Yamuna, he achieves Sayujya Mukti. He never takes birth again into this material world. Until one takes bath in Yamuna, one's sinful reactions will bother the living entity. Until then, Yamaraj can punish a living entity for the sins. Anyone takes a dip in Yamuna on the solar eclipse day, even unknowingly, he acquires multifold result of taking bath in Kurukshetra or Kashi. The glories of taking bath in Yamuna are unlimited. Even we cannot describe the complete glories of taking bath in the river Yamuna. Anyone who remembers the glories of taking bath in Yamuna gets the result of taking bath in Yamuna. After death, he resides in the Brahmaloka. There are several places to be seen at Yamunotri. First is the Yamunotri temple. This temple is constructed by the King Pratap Shah of Tehri Garhwal in the traditional Garhwal architecture. Some historians believe that originally the temple was constructed by Queen Guleria of Jaipur. The original temple was destroyed by the weather, and in the place of which the recent temple was constructed. Inside the temple there is the black marble deity of Mother Yamuna and the deity of Ganga. There is also a deity of Lord Krishna and the Utsav Murti of Mother Yamuna. The temple has a small Pradakshina path. Divya Shila is the sacred stone slab where Jayamuni performed tapasya. Devotees offer worship and puja near this slab before offering worship in the temple. Surya Kund. This hot water spring is situated near the Divya Shila. Devotees cook rice in this kund to take it back as prasadam of Mother Yamuna. Mukharvinda is next to the Surya Kund. It is from this place that Mother Yamuna is gushing out in the form of a hot water spring. Tapt Kund, also known as Snan Kund. Tapt Kund is a hot water lake at Yamunotri. There are two lakes, one for men and other for women, to take a holy dip. Devotees take bath in this hot water lake to burn their sins before having darshan at Yamunotri. Sometimes the water of this lake is very hot and it is not advised to get inside it immediately. One has to slowly get into the lake and take a holy dip. Saptarishi Kund. Saptarishi Kund, the actual source of Yamuna in the Champasar glacier, is a freshwater lake at a distance of 15 kilometers from Yamunotri. This lake is situated at 4,431 meters above the sea level. But to reach it, one has to take an arduous trek of 15 kilometers. This trek is not frequented by many devotees, and hence this trek is considered to be one of the most difficult treks in the Himalayan region. It takes 3 days from Yamunotri to visit Saptarishi Kund and return to the Yamunotri. Saptarishi Kund trek route offers one an unforgettable view of the Yamuna valley and also the rare Himalayan herbs and flowers such as Brahma Kamal. It is believed that the 7 great sages performed austerities here and left to Vaikunta. Next, now we are going to travel to Gangotri. Before that, when we return from Barkot, we come to a place called as Uttarkashi. At Uttarkashi, there is a temple of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva's Shivlinga is a little bent. So it is said that Markandeya Rishi, who meditated here, was holding the Shivlinga, and that is how it is bent there. From Uttarkashi, it is 100 kilometers to Gangotri. It takes about 4 hours to reach Gangotri. So Gangotri, it is the source of the mighty and sacred river Ganga, which has inspired countless devotees. As per the scriptures, Gangotri is the location where Lord Shiva received the mighty Ganga river on his matted locks of hair. The actual source of river Ganga is Vaikunta, from where she started flowing after Lord Vaman's toe pierced the covering of the material nature or the material universe. The source of river Ganga on earth is the Gomukh or Gangotri glacier, located at a distance of 18 kilometers from Gangotri, where the Gangotri temple dedicated to Ganga Devi is present. The temple opens every year on the auspicious occasion of Akshaya Tritiya and closes on the occasion of Diwali. The river Ganga is the lifeline of many people living in North India, where she traverses through. There are many tributaries of the river throughout the country. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 31, Lord Krishna says, Shrotasam Asmi Janavi. Of the flowing rivers, I am the Ganga. Tirthanam Strotasam Ganga. Among sacred and flowing things, I am the holy Ganga. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Purana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, says that Ganga Devi is always chanting the holy names of the Lord. Gangotri is located at an altitude of 10,200 feet above sea level on the greater Himalayan mountain ranges. Gomukh, which is the actual source of Ganga river, is located 18 kilometers away from Gangotri in the southeastern direction. The area is comprised mainly of forests, springs, waterfalls and snowy peaks. Let us find out how Ganga descends on the earth. So she descends on the earth due to the efforts of King Bhagirath. The story of the descent of river Ganga on earth was narrated by sage Vishwamitra to Lord Ram and Lakshman. The great King Sagara, who ruled over Ayodhya, performed an Ashwamedha Yajna for the benefit of the whole world. Lord Indra was worried that King Sagara would become more powerful and popular than him, and hence stole the sacrificial horse from the site of the sacrifice and hid it at the ashram of Kapila Muni. The king ordered his 60,000 sons to go search for the horse and bring it back. The princes went searching for the horse all over the world by excavating the earth, searching the subterranean regions, etc., but were unsuccessful. In the process, caused havoc everywhere and killed innumerable creatures. The Devatas were worried and hence went to Lord Brahma, and who assured them that the princess would be killed by Lord Vishnu in the form of Kapila Muni. The princess, upon reaching the ashram of Kapila Muni, found a sacrificial horse tied to a pole there. On seeing this, they started abusing Kapila Muni using very harsh language, up to the point of threatening to kill him. Kapila Muni got enraged by the behavior of the princess and hence opened his eyes. Kapila Muni had acquired immense powers by dint of his tapasya and hence burned to ashes the 60,000 princes immediately. King Sagara was worried that his sons hadn't come back yet, nor was there any news about them. He sent his pious son Anshuman to search for out his other sons. Anshuman travelled and came across the ashram of Kapila Muni, where he found the ashes of his 60,000 brothers scattered beside the place where Kapila Muni was sitting in meditation. Anshuman, being grieved by his brother's death, looked around and saw Garuda, the devotee eagle, carrier of Lord Vishnu, who advised him to find out ways to bring the river Ganga down to the earth to be able to liberate his brothers from hell. Anshuman offered prayers to Kapila Muni and got back the sacrificial horse, with which he went back to his father, King Sagara. Despite all efforts to bring river Ganga to earth, neither King Sagara or Anshuman were successful. Generations later, King Bhagirath pleased Lord Brahma by dint of his tapasya, and hence Lord Brahma ordered Ganga to descend and flow on earth so as to liberate the ancestors of King Bhagirath. River Ganga's extreme flow strength would cause massive flooding and destruction on earth if she were to descend directly. Seeing this, Lord Shiva agreed to hold Ganga in these matted locks of hair and release her in a regulated way. The waters of the Ganga river, after falling on earth, flowed through the subterranean regions where the ashes of King Sagara's sons were scattered and thus liberated them. The river also filled up the huge excavations done by the 60,000 princes and in their search for the sacrificial horse, and thus formed the ocean. There are different places to be visited in Gangotri. First is the Gangotri temple, where we already described, that is a Ganga Devi deity there, who is worshipped there. Then there is what is called as Jalamagna Shivalinga, where Lord Shiva held the sacred river Ganga in his matted locks. There is a natural Shivalinga which is visible only in winter when the water level goes down. Dharali, where King Bhagirath performed penances to bring down river Ganga to earth. This is en route to Gangotri after Harshil. The fourth place is Suryakund, near the Gangotri temple, where the water falls directly from the Bhagirath river. Harshil, the village where deity of Ganga Devi from Gangotri temple is worshipped in Mukba during the winter season when Gangotri becomes inaccessible. Sixth is Gomukh, the source of river Ganga, can only be reached by trekking from Gangotri. Bhojbasa, which is well known for Bhojapatra tree, can only be reached from Gangotri. From Gangotri, we travelled to a place called as Guptakashi, which is on the way to Kedarnath. The Kedarnath temple is revered as one of the Dwadasha or 12 Jyotirlingas of Bharatvarsha. It is believed that Lord Narayan performed Sahasranam Puja to Lord Shiva at Kedarnath. Himalayas are geographically divided into 5 sections or Khanda, each known for a grand and celebrated temple of Lord Shiva. First is the Nepal Khanda, Sri Pashupatinath temple at Kathmandu. Second, Kumanchal Khanda, Sri Jagannath or Jageshwar temple in Uttarakhand. Third, Gadwal Khand, Sri Kedarnath temple in Uttarakhand. Jalandhar Khand, Sri Baijnath temple, Himachal Pradesh. And the fifth, Kashmir Khand, Sri Amarnath temple, Jammu and Kashmir. The Kedarnath temple is situated in Rudraprayag district in the Indian state of Uttarakhand at a freezing cold altitude of 11,753 feet above the sea level. The temple is situated on the foothill of Mahalaya Parvat, surrounded by the Panchagangas, namely Khiraganga or Vasoki Ganga, second Madhu Ganga or Madhavi Ganga, third Saraswati Ganga, fourth Mandakini, and fifth Swargadari or Swargarohini. Now let us find what is the meaning of Kedarnath. The name Kedarnath is derived from two Sanskrit words, Kedar, which means field, and Nath means the Lord. The Kashi Kedar Mahatmya states that the crop of liberation grows here and hence it is called as Kedarnath. According to the chapter 17 of Krishna Janmakhanda of Brahma Vaivarta Purana, states the name Kedar also refers to the famous king Kedar from Satyuga, who renounced his kingdom and had performed tapasya in this part of the Himalaya. As per the local folklore, Lord Shiva agreed to dwell here on the request of Nara and Narayan for the welfare of devotees. The Kedarnath temple was initially built by the Pandavas 5000 years ago. Later, it was restored by Adiguru Sri Shankaracharya. Now, let us find out how Kedarnath Shivalinga manifested. And as per the Mahabharata, after the end of Kurukshetra war, sage Vedavyas instructed the Pandavas to visit Himalayas to receive Lord Shiva's blessings for nullifying the sin committed of killing their own kin. Unhappy by the killing of their kinsmen by the Pandavas, Lord Shiva did not want to see them. Hence, Lord Shiva took shelter at Guptakashi in secret. That is why this place is known as Guptakashi, a secret place. However, when Pandavas came to know about this, Lord Shiva moved to Kedarnath and took the form of a bull, thus camouflaging himself in the flock of bulls grazing at Kedarnath. Searching Lord Shiva, the Pandavas reached Kedarnath and found that there are many bulls grazing in this area. In order to find out the Lord Shiva in the guise of a bull, Yudhishthir instructed Bhima to stand with legs apart and Arjuna to yoke the bulls under Bhima. One by one, every bull was yoked by Arjuna. However, one bull did not want to pass under Bhima. This doubted Maharaj Yudhishthir, who instructed Bhima to catch the bull. When Lord Shiva realized that he had been identified by Bhima in a disguised form, Lord Shiva requested Bhumi Devi to grant him a passage for escape. While Lord Shiva was escaping from that place, Bhima quickly grabbed the tail and pulled him. Hence, Lord Shiva could not pass through completely. His body from the hump till the tail remained at Kedarnath and the face appeared at Pashupatinath. Lord Shiva was very pleased by the determination of the Pandavas and thus appeared before them to give darshan. He also forgave their sins and instructed them to worship the self-manifested Swayambhu Kedar Shila, which was in the form of a hump of the bull. From then on, this Kedar Shila is revered as the Jyotirlinga. The parts of the bull also manifested as Shivalingas at various locations in the Garhwal Khand of the Himalayas, which are collectively known as Panchakedar. The five Panchakedars are Kedarnath, Madamaheshwar, Tunganath, Rudranath and Kalpeshwar. The priest of Kedarnath, the main Archak of Sri Kedarnath, is called as Raval, who hails from the Sringeri Mutt of South India. The next Raval is appointed from their own generations of disciples. Raval does not worship the Shivalinga himself, but engages his disciples to worship Lord Kedarnath. The Mutt has its head office at Ukhimat. The Raval is responsible for the worship of Panchakedar temples and other 11 more temples of Lord Shiva. There are a lot of festivals celebrated at Kedarnath temple. Every year at Kedarnath festival is celebrated on the occasion of Annakut. As part of the celebration, rice is prepared and offered to Lord Shiva. This entire Shivalinga is covered with the rice and later the same rice is distributed as prasadam. It is believed that this festival is being celebrated from the beginning of the creation. During the festival, Bilva Patra and the Brahma Kamal are also offered to Lord Kedarnath. Apart from Kedarnath, this festival is also celebrated in the Vishwanath temple of Guptakashi and the Bholeshwar Mahadev temple of Ukhimat. Additionally, the opening and closing of the Kedarnath temple are great events to witness. When the temple is opened for the first time after 6 months, devotees can have darshan of the Akhanda Jyoti, which continuously lights for 6 months when the temple is closed. At the time of closing, the Kedar Shila is covered in Vibhuti and Rudraksha, most of which disappears and only some part of it is found at the time of opening the temples. The remaining Vibhuti and Rudraksha is distributed to the devotees as prasadam. What is the best climate to visit Kedarnath? The location of the temple experiences extreme weather conditions all through the year. From October to April, the temple is closed, and during this time, weather conditions are very harsh, making it almost impossible to visit the temple. The best weather to visit Kedarnath is between September 15th and October 15th. Secondly, May-June is also an ideal time to have darshan at Kedarnath. While travelling to Kedarnath, carry sufficient warm clothes, including thermal wear, as the temperature in the night can drop below 0 degrees Celsius. It is always good to carry umbrella and shoes for protection against rainfall and snow. At Kedarnath, there are shelter and medical facilities also available. There are adequate shelters with tea and snack stalls for the pilgrims to take rest en route the Kedarnath trek. There are medical camps too throughout the trek. Kedarnath can accommodate maximum 2000 pilgrims comfortably. GMVN has its dormitories and guest house at Kedarnath. Additionally, there are small bhavans to accommodate the pilgrims. There are also fiber tents to accommodate pilgrims atop. Simple food is available at many small restaurants. So, Kedarnath, after you come from Gangotri, there are different ways to get to Kedarnath. One is by helicopter, second is by walk. You can go by pony ride, or you can also take the dolly. So, depending on what you want to do and what is preferable, one can do that. After Kedarnath, we have to visit the place called as the fourth Dham, which is called as Badrinath, which is Lord Vishnu's place. So, from Guptakashi, you come to a place that is called as Joshimath. At Joshimath, there is a Lord Narsimha temple where Lord Narsingdev is being worshipped. The Lord Narsingdev deity is of Shaligram Shila, and we can see that deity early in the morning when Abhishek is performed there. Also at Joshimath, there is the tree where it is said that Sri Adi Shankaracharya was enlightened. So, that is also a very important place for the Mayavadis. After taking darshan of Lord Narsingdev, we can proceed further, and on the way you get a place known as Pandukeshwar, and there are two temples, and this place is also called as Dhyan Badri. This place is known that the Pandavas were born here to Mother Kunti. From Pandukeshwar we can travel further and then we reach Badrinath. Badrinath is the most prominent and ancient pilgrimage place where Lord Narayan dwells eternally. It is one of the 4 holy dhams of Bharat along with Dwarka, Rameshwar and Jagannath Puri. It is also one of the 108 Sri Vaishnava Divya Desham Kshetras. This sacred and well-known town houses the renowned temple of Lord Badri Vishal, which is revered most by the devotees or the followers of the Sanatan Dharma. Badrinath is a holy town in Chamoli district in the state of Uttarakhand, India. Devotees throng this Himalayan shrine from all over the world from May to October. This holy kshetra has been known by different names in the different yugas. In the Satyuga, it was known as Mukti Prada. In the Treta Yuga, it was known as Gyan Pitha. In the Dwapar Yuga, it was glorified as Vishalapuri. And in the Kali Yuga, it is renowned as Badrika Ashram. Sage Vedavyas composed the Vedas, 18 Puranas and the Mahabharata at this place. Even Lord Shiva and the king of demigods, Indra, got rid of Brahmahatya here. Badrinath was re-established as a major pilgrimage center by Jagadguru Sri Adi Shankaracharya in the 7th century. The temple is mentioned in the ancient religious texts like Vishnu Purana and the Skanda Purana. It is glorified in the Divya Prabandha, an early medieval Tamil canon of the Alvar saints from the 6th to the 9th centuries AD. What are the benefits of visiting Badrinath? There are different scriptures which say, so one of the scriptures says, after having darshan in this holy kshetra, one who takes dip in the Panchatirthas and Taptakund, one who has darshan of Sri Adi Kedareshwar and circumambulates Lord Badri Narayan, one gets freed from all sins and becomes a part of virtuous and attains the abode of Vishnu, that is Vishnu Loka. The Skanda Purana says, out of the 3 lokas, Badri Kshetra is the prominent kshetra. Just by thinking of Badri Kshetra, great sinners get rid of their sins and attain moksha. The result derived from performing thousands of Ashwamedha Yajnas and meditation can be obtained by a moment's presence in Badri Kshetra. Great punya is obtained by performing penances, yoga and samadhi at other holy places. All these results are methodically obtained just by having Lord Badri Narayan's darshan. Further, the Skanda Purana narrates the glories of the holy dham. Even if a grain of prasadam of Badri Narayan is consumed by a devotee who visits the holy kshetra, he would get rid of all kinds of patakas or sins, including the Mahapancha patakas. The visitors to this holy region would attain Vishnu Swarupa, whose heart is replete with the vision of Lord Narayan, whose tongue and ears are full of his glories, whose stomach is even a morsel of his prasad, and whose head touches the feet of Lord Badri Narayan's deities. The worst sins like killing the virtuous, intoxication, robberies and adultery would all evaporate once these requirements are fulfilled in the Badrinath. The result derived from residing and meditating for 60 years in Varanasi is equivalent to the result obtained by spending a day in Badri Dham. What are the different places to be visited in Badrinath? The first one is the Badrinath temple. The temple is the most important shrine to be visited in Badrinath. Lord Badri Vishal graces the main Garbhagriha of this temple, along with Naranarayana, Garuda, Kubera, Uddhava and Narad Muni. The deity of Badri Vishal is Swayambhuva and was re-established by Adi Guru Shankaracharya in the 7th century. Brahma Kapal Ghat. This place is considered as one of the Gaya Kshetras. Lord Brahma's fifth head, which was stuck to the hand of Lord Shiva, fell at this place. Pilgrims visiting Badrinath Kshetra visit this place first to offer oblations to their forefathers and then visit the temple of Badrinath. Then there are what is called as Panchashilas, and I will be narrating about the Panchashilas now. The first one is called as Narad Shila. Badrikashram is identified to the presence of the Panchashilas, one of which is Narad Shila. It is situated on the banks of the Taptakund. Sage Narad determined once and did severe penance by sitting on a rock for having darshan of Lord Vishnu. Being pleased with Narad Muni's penance, Lord Narayan along with Lakshmi Devi gave darshan to Narad Muni. Sage Narada postulated for the boons of everlasting devotion to Lord Vishnu and never leave the rock on which he performed penance, and creating a tirtha nearby which should assoil the sins of those who bathe in it and worship Narayan there. It is also believed that Narad Pancharatra was written at this place. The second Shila is called as Markandeya Shila. This is situated at the bottom of the Taptakund. Markandeya, the great devotee, met sage Narada at Mathura and was advised that he should visit Badri Kshetra and pray to Lord Narayan. Markandeya did accordingly and was fortunate to secure the darshan of Sri Hari after continuously reciting the Ashtakshara mantra, namely Om Namo Narayanaya. He was dumbfounded when Bhagavan Vishnu stood before him in full glory with 4 hands ornamented with Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Saranga. After exalting Narayan to his heart's content, Markandeya desired for Janma Rahitya or freedom from births, that his devotion to Narayan should become stronger and unflinching, that he should be always present at the rock where he was having the darshan of Bhagavan, and that he should bless devotees when they visited the Markandeya Shila. The third is the Garud Shila. Garud Shila is also situated right next to the temple of Adi Kedar. Garuda was the son of sage Kashyapa and Devi Vinata, whose ambition was to emulate the example of his brother Aruna, who was Surya Dev's charioteer and had the intense desire of becoming the carrier of Lord Vishnu. He chose Badri Kshetra on the top of the adjacent Gandhamadhan Parvat, that is a mountain, and was in penance for years together with undaunted grit and devotion. As Lord Narayan finally gave darshan, Garuda extolled him as Trividha Murti, integrating the forms of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, as also of Ashta Shaktis or 8 powers and the supreme might of the universe. Vishnu was pleased and materialized Panchamukha Ganga, or the 5-phase Ganges, with the waters of which gave the unique opportunity to Garuda to wash his feet. He also granted the boons of making him his personal Vahana or carrier, of becoming invisible by any force in the 3 worlds, of making him a never falling personal devotee of the Lord, and of fulfilling the desires of those who visit the Garud Shila and worship Bhagavan Narayan. The fourth is called as Narsimha Shila. So Narsimha Shila is located on the river bed of Alaknanda river. The Shila is visible sometimes only when the water of the river recedes. Narsimha Dev, one of the Lord Vishnu's incarnations, annihilated demon Hiranyakashipu and saved the illustrious devotee Prahalad. He looked like fire while massacring the demon with his sharp nails and was in a highly infuriated mood when all the devas prayed to him to calm down. After becoming somewhat composed, he declared that he would settle at Vishalpuri, that is Badrika Ashram. All the sages were extremely delighted that Lord Narsimha would be present at Narsimha Shila for facilitating their constant worship and to bless bhaktas visiting the Shila. The fifth Shila is called as the Varaha Shila. The Varaha Shila is situated next to Narad Shila in the Alaknanda river. Bhagwan Varaha, who pulled up Bhudevi from the underworld of Rasatal, destroyed demon Hiranyaksha and saved the Vedas and holy scriptures. The Varaha incarnation of Lord Vishnu appeared at Vishalpuri as Varaha Shila and continued to bless the devotees at the Shila. Next, we will visit the Tapta Kund. It is just located below the temple, and this is thermal spring of hot sulphurous water and inviting like a fresh water pool. The bathing area has separate arrangements for men and women. Although the normal temperature is 55 degrees Celsius, the water temperature keeps rising gradually during the day. It is considered to have high medicinal value. A dip here is a good cure for skin diseases. Tapta Kund is the manifestation of Agni Dev, the fire god, who was blessed to be present in Badrinath for eternity. Then the next place that we can visit is called as Charan Paduka. This is situated 2 kilometers above the Badrinath temple on the Narayan Parvat. It is a beautiful rock holding the lotus footprints of Nara and Narayan. It is believed that the darshan of these footprints will relieve visitors from all ailments. Next is the place called as Leela Dungi. This was the place originally chosen by Lord Shiva to meditate. However, Lord Vishnu resolved to get this place and assumed the form of a little child and wept continuously, unconsolably. Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva tried consoling the child, but in vain. At last, Lord Shiva had to abandon that place and moved to Kedarnath to continue his meditation. The place was later claimed by Lord Badri Vishal, who made Badrika Ashram as his eternal abode. This is also considered as the birthplace of Lord Badri Vishal. There is one more temple called as the Urvashi temple. The Urvashi was the most beautiful celestial damsel, as she was created from Lord Narayan's left thigh. When Indra sent beautiful apsaras to distract the meditation of Nara and Narayan, Lord Narayan created Urvashi and gifted her to Indra. This temple is situated at a distance of around 1.5 km from the Badri temple. Nanda Devi temple. In the Bamani village of Badrinath is the temple of Nanda Devi, who is the protector of this holy dham of Badrika Ashram. All the Brahma Kamal blooming in the Badrika Ashram are her property. Legally, no one is allowed to pluck the flowers except for her service. Then we visit some place called as the various gufas or the caves. We can visit first cave called as the Muchkunda cave. The Muchkunda, an ancestor of Sri Ramachandra, belonged to Treta Yuga. After Lord Krishna killed a demon Kalyavan in Dwapar Yuga, by taking Muchkunda's assistance, he was advised by Lord Krishna to perform penance to cleanse the accumulated sins to attain moksha or liberation. After meeting the Lord, Muchkunda set out of the cave to Badrinath to carry out the Lord's instruction. The cave is situated at a trekking distance of less than a kilometer from the Vyas Gufa. So, we will come to the place called Vyas Gufa. Before that, we will see what is the Mana village. So, Mana village, this is the place from where the Pandavas passed to the village during their journey to heaven, which is called as the Sarga Rohini. There, the famous stone bridge created by Bhima, known as Bhimpul. It is a huge rock formed as a bridge across river Saraswati. In the Vedic time, it was known as Mani Bhadrapuri. There is also a Mata Murti temple. This temple is dedicated to Mata Murti, the mother of the two sons Narayan and Nara. According to the Vedic history, Mata Murti prayed to Lord Vishnu to take his next incarnation by coming out from her womb. Lord Vishnu agreed and came out from her womb into this world as twins, Nara and Narayan, to kill a demon. There is a popular belief that the goddess has power of granting vairagya or renunciation to those who meditate here sincerely. It is visited frequently by visitors for worshipping Mata Murti on Shukla Tritiya, Ashtami and Chaturdashi. During the time of Mata Murti Mela, the mother of Shri Badrinath is worshipped with great devotion. There is the Sheshanetra. On the opposite bank of river Alkananda, in the lap of Naraparvat, there are two small seasonal lakes. Between these lakes is a boulder having an impression of the legendary snake Anantashesha. The formation of eye on the boulder is natural. He is having darshan of Lord Badri, Vishal, eternally. The next is Keshav Prayag. This is the confluence of Alaknanda and Saraswati rivers at Mana village. Saraswati river and Alaknanda river flowing from Alkapuri meet at a point named as Keshav Prayag. Bhimpul. We already discussed about the Bhimpul. So Bhima, one of the Pandava brothers, made his natural bridge for his beloved wife Draupadi. This is the place from where the Pandavas started their journey to heaven called Swargarohini. During this journey, Draupadi was unable to cross the river. Then Bhima lifted a huge rock and placed it in between the gorge. This bridge is located opposite Vyas Gufa in Mana village and offers an enthralling view of the unpolluted valley. Vyas Gufa or the Vyasa cave. This is believed to the place where sage Vyasa composed the Mahabharata epic with the help of Lord Ganesha. He also composed 18 Puranas, Brahma Sutras and 4 Vedas. Maharishi Vyasadev's deity installed in the cave and worshipped by the pilgrims. A distinct feature of the temple is the roof which resembles the pages from the collection of his holy scripts. The next place to visit is the Ganesh Gufa or cave. It is a site where Lord Ganesha penned down the Mahabharata epic dictated by Vedavyas. After you cross the Bhimpul, you come to a place called as Vasudhara Falls. The water of this fall cascades from the height of 400 feet, can only be severed by those who are clean, pure and unstained from guilt. The water of this waterfall of Vasudhara Falls turns away from the visitors who are sinful. Further, if you go from Vasudhara Falls, there is a place called as Lakshmi Van, then there is a place called as Chakratirth, and from there further you go, you walk to a place called as Satopant Lake. So Satopant Lake is about 25 kilometers from Badrinath and it takes about 3 days of trekking to reach that place. It is said that Lord Vishnu visits this Satopant Lake every Ekadashi, and also it is said that Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva sit in meditation at this beautiful lake called as the Satopant Lake. Before coming to all these 4 important sacred places, also on the way to Badrinath, we come across different prayags. Prayags are the confluence or 2 or more rivers. So one, we know that Bhagirathi or Ganga, which is called as Bhagirathi, coming from Gangotri, and Alaknanda is coming from Alkapuri, which is near further away from Badrinath. So when these different rivers meet at there are different rivers meeting at different places, so that is called as Prayag. When Alaknanda meets the point at Vishnu Prayag, then there is another confluence called as Nanda Prayag, where Nandakini river meets Alaknanda. At Rudraprayag, then there is Karna Prayag. At Karna Prayag, there is a glacier water comes and meets Karna Prayag, and this is the place where Karna meditated. Then we have Rudraprayag. At Rudraprayag, the Mandakini river coming from Kedarnath meets Alaknanda, and that meeting place is called as Rudraprayag. And finally, at Devaprayag, it is a meeting of the Bhagirathi river coming from Gangotri and Alaknanda, and after Devaprayag, it is called as Ganga. So these are the 4 important sacred places that you have visited. Hope that you have liked whatever has been spoken about these holy places, and whenever you get an opportunity, you would visit these places. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.